You've been searching for God and felt like there's blockades at every turn, like there's a wall standing between you and God, like there's miles that you can't get past. Join me today as we learn how God breaks down those walls, how He brings people to find us when we think there's no way to be found, as we study the lineage of Jesus and the women that is named. Welcome to Refining Grace, where we study the Word of God to become refined, strengthened, and full of God's grace. There are 5 women mentioned in the genealogy of Jesus. This alone is kind of amazing, considering that women weren't mentioned in genealogy, mainly just the men. But when you look at the ones that were, it's even more amazing, especially 4 of them. The first one was Tamar. Tamar was married to Judah's first son and second son. Judah was Jacob's son. He was the one that the tribe of Judah was named after. Tamar was initially married to the firstborn, and it said that was wicked in the sight of the Lord. And he died before they could have children. It was, at that time, it was commonplace that if they didn't have children, that a next of kin would then marry them, and it was usually the closest. So Tamar married the second son, which was Onan, and it said that he did wrong in the sight of the Lord. He did wrong to Tamar, and he died before they could have children. Tamar was promised the third son, but Judah didn't keep up the bargain. He was afraid that the third son was going to die too. But during this time, Tamar went back to her father's house, and she wore widow's clothes. She did what she was supposed to, and she waited. After some time, Judah's wife died, and it said that he went to a town to be comforted. Tamar heard of this. She took off her widow's clothes, put a veil over her face, and went out as a harlot. Judah found her, knew her biblically, but he didn't have anything to pay her at that time. He said he would send a young goat. Tamar, knowing that if she was pregnant, would need proof of who the father was, asked for a signet, a cord, and his staff, things that would definitely show who Judah was. So after 3 months, Judah found out that she was pregnant. And he sent after her, because play the harlot, you could be killed at that time, to find out who the father was. And she showed him the proof. It was Judah. And Judah said, she didn't do wrong because I didn't give her my son. She went to the next of kin, and she claimed it was hers. Tamar had twins. The first one was Terah. Terah put out his arm first. It wasn't an easy birth. And when he put out his arm, they tied a scarlet thread around it. But then he drew his arm back in, and Perez was born. So Perez burst forth, or breached forth, and claimed his rights. You know, that's what God does when Satan is trying to steal what is ours. God breaches forth and claims it for us. Perez, the one that the lineage of Jesus came through. Tamar, that promise was going to be taken from her, but she reached out and claimed it. It wasn't the prettiest claim, but she reached out and claimed it. It wasn't the way that God wanted, but God's still a provider because she was faithful. God's seen something in her that she was faithful and that she believed, and so much so that he put her in the lineage of Christ and mentioned her in the lineage of Christ. The second was Rahab. You may have remember Rahab from Jericho. She was a harlot, also not what we would be consider an upstanding woman. God sent the spies to reach Rahab, and when they went in, they found Rahab. You ever thought about why God sent the spies? Because there wasn't going to be a battle. The walls just crumbled, and God knew that. God sent the spies to find Rahab. God stopped probably almost 2 to 3 million people, because it says there was 601,000 fighting age men, not counting the tribe of Levi. So when you add all the younger and older men and then all the females, it could have easily been 2 to 3 million. God stopped them to go find Rahab because Rahab had heard of the God of Israel. She knew that the God of Israel was the one true God, and she claimed him as her God. So God saved her. God broke down the walls to free her. He went after her. The third one was Ruth. Ruth was a Moabite woman. Moabites weren't nice people either. They served false gods and evil gods that did all the evil things, including the child sacrifice. So they weren't nice people. But Ruth was different. God sent Naomi and her family on a 60 to 90 mile journey. Now, to us today with vehicles, 60 to 90 miles doesn't seem like a whole lot. But when you got to move a family on foot, that's a long way. It took 4 to 7 days, and that's if it was an easy trip. There was a famine. Naomi and her family left, and they went to Moab. They went from the city of bread because of famine to Moab, and they found Ruth. And Ruth married one of Naomi's sons, and that son perished during that time. And when Naomi decided to come back to Israel, come back to Bethlehem, Ruth clave to her. There was something that Ruth taught her about God, because she said, "Your God's my God." And she came back. God led her to Boaz's farm. She got Boaz's attention, and she married Boaz. She had Obed, who had Jesse, who had David. She was named in the lineage. She was the grandmother, or great-grandmother of King David. God blessed her because of her faithfulness, but she had to go on a journey to get there. She had to work to get there. The fourth one is Bathsheba. It doesn't name Bathsheba by name, but it says Uriah the Hittite's wife. And it names this to show that she wasn't what we would consider an upstanding woman. David wasn't always the nicest either. But when it came down to it, they both had a repentant heart, and they both loved God. They did some bad things, but they repented, and they did their best to serve God. You know, if you look at all these women, these people, they weren't all perfect. They were a lot less than perfect, but they did their best to serve God, and God blessed them. God named them. God went after them. The last one was Mary, a young girl that God found favor in. And this young girl was chosen to raise the Son of God. I can't imagine raising the Son of God. It couldn't have been easy knowing that you had the responsibility to raise the Son of God. But through all these, we can see that God went after them. God stopped a multitude of people to find them. So if you're searching, God's coming after you. Just look. He'll be there. Sometimes you got to work for it. Sometimes you got to wait for it. But he hasn't forgotten you. Just like he didn't forget Tamar. Just like he went after Rahab. And it doesn't matter what you did, because he'll forgive you just like he did Bathsheba. He'll find you faithful just like he did Ruth. And he'll help you do and give you the strength to do what you need to do, just like Mary. If you got something out of this lesson, as that you watch my next lesson that should be coming up here. May God bless and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and give you peace.